We're gonna do the pledge of allegiance to start. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good seeing everybody here tonight. Full house again. And with that, we will take a roll call, please.
Trustee Bergen.
Present.
Trustee Olet.
Here.
Trustee Sidoroff.
Here.
Trustee McFall.
Here.
Trustee Bell.
Here.
Trustee Chadwick.
Here.
President Bergen.
Yeah, thank you very much. With that, we will move on to the approval of minutes from March 2nd meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to the board to approve the minutes of March 2nd, 2021, regular board meeting. All trustees have had them presented to them earlier and had a chance to review.
Second. Any corrections or discussion? And none, we'll take a roll call for approval.
Trustee Bergen.
Aye.
Trustee Olet.
Aye.
Trustee Sidoroff.
Aye.
Trustee McFall.
Aye.
Trustee Bell.
Aye.
Trustee Chadwick.
Aye.
President Bergen.
Aye, thank you very much. Item number 5 is the first citizen comment. People wishing to address the board are asked to state their name and address for the record and limit their comments to one time. And it's 3 minutes if you're alone or 5 minutes representing the group. Citizens shall be limited to a period of more than 30 minutes long. Anyone wishing to address the board, please come on up. Name and address and good evening, Mr. Foster.
Wayne Foster, 8259 Park Ridge Lane. In 1991, the village had a road project, which is 84th Street. There was an ordinance passed that we went back and forth about having sidewalks. And at that time, there was some self-interest on the board. They voted not to have, they took sidewalks out of the project because of the neighborhood and what they had there. And since 1991, that road is dangerous as the traffic increases. When our children were young, we would not let them ride their bikes on 84th Street because of the traffic and how narrow it is. And we have been very fortunate over the last 40 years, or since 1991, not to have a fatality or something there. Because I drive it every day and you see it and it's just, something's going to happen. For myself, I'm probably leaving in the next couple of years, but the bottom line is that we have new families moving in, we've got young people moving in, and it just continues. And I don't know why we can't get a sidewalk. It's one of the most busiest streets in the village, but yet there's no, I've been here many times, but there's no movement to do it. Second of all, so I think we should have a sidewalk on 84th Street from the Parkway up to the north village limits. Second, I really would like the board to consider that area of the village to be part of the village. You come out and you do trees, you cut them off at the curb, you leave the crap lay behind the curb. You cut down some trees on the corner of Park Ridge and 84th Street. Was a year, like January of 20, it took you to fall of 20 to come back and seed and to take out the stumps. You've got the intersection of 84th Street and the Parkway, you can't even drive through it, it's so damn rough. I drive around it every morning. And you had a wood chip pile laying on the east side of 84th Street by the Parkway for a year. You finally spread it out. The thistles get 4 feet high, you come once a year and cut them. You know, it's terrible. I drive down College Avenue and I drive down Grange, I go east. Everything's beautiful, out to the right-of-way lines, whatever. We go down 76th Street, everything's beautiful, we go down Grange. But for some reason, I don't think you realize that the people over on Midland Court and Park Ridge Lane over there were part of the village. So I really think this summer you should do something to address that, bring it up there. Granted, we're not gonna have lawn, it's not, but you could at least clean up the brush and the garbage and stuff that's there and fix our road. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
Anyone else, please? All
Go ahead.
right. Good evening. Name and address for the record?
Can I take my mask off?
Certainly can.
All right, I can talk better. My name is James Krukowski, and I live at 4104 West Grange Avenue. That happens to be in Greenfield. But my wife and I own a residence, and it's 55, 52, and 54 townhouse in Greendale. And the reason I'm here this evening is because we've been recently stopped by not dropping debris and things in the Greendale dump. We only go there probably during the summer, mainly, but I go once a week. I know I'm not a resident, but I'm sure, I didn't look up our tax bill right now, but it's somewhere around $7,000 a year. That's a substantial amount of money to be able to have someone say that I can't dump some grass clippings. I could probably dump them on a curb, and I'm sure I'd get fined for that. But I think it should be allowed. I know there's some other people here that have the same issue, and I've never had the issue before until of recent. And I believe it's an ordinance, but I didn't read that. But I'd like to know, it's unfortunate that you can't speak or you don't speak this evening, but I'd like to know how you came to that conclusion of that ordinance. Have people abused it? Or what has it been? It's because I'm not a resident, and I understand that, but I own property, and we can bring a tax bill, I can bring a gas bill, whatever you need. But I'm just asking for the next meeting, if it's where we can discuss it. I'd like to be there, notified, or I'll know when it is, but consider common sense on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Address?
My name is Marvin Stein. I'm a Greenfield resident at 3935 West Layton Avenue. I own a two-family on Radburn Lane in Greendale, about 4 blocks from the dump. I've been denied access to the dump. 2 years ago, I stood in front of you people, thought it was resolved, found out it was not. Last week Friday, I tried to get rid of my yard waste from the site, from the two-family, and was denied. The first time 2 years ago that I was denied, I was told, well, why don't you just bring it over to Greenfield where you live, by the foreman of the facility. I looked at him, I said, you think that's right? I should take material from Greendale, take it to Greenfield. I said, that's not fair to the citizens of Greenfield. It didn't make any sense at all. I'm looking for common sense here, and I hope I can get some tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. You still want me to write my address? No. Okay. My name is Tyler Helsel. I live at 6427 Manchester Drive. I've spoken here a number of times. I'm a candidate for trustee in Greendale. Try to talk to people behind me as well. I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that I've been noticing or hearing about recently. First, I wanted to commend our health department and those that are helping get vaccines out, whether they're private industry or the health department. I think that we're doing an amazing job with the vaccine rollout for those that want to get the vaccine. But I specifically wanted to call out our health department and the amazing job they're doing. I know that they had a clinic, I believe it was today. I hope that people got access to that as well. I wanted to tie that to something that happened a couple weeks ago. Events were approved here at the board. And I am in favor of those events proceeding. And the reason that I was in favor, and I think a lot of the reason that you all were in favor, was because they were approved subject to COVID protocols at the time. I don't know if it's entirely clear what those protocols are. I think that as the events come up, we should somehow alert the public to what they are so people can make the decision on whether or not they want to attend. I don't think that should prevent events from occurring, because I think that events are far too important to our local businesses and our community as a whole to pursue. I just think that when we're talking about events, we should communicate a little bit better about what's, not better is not the right word, just more about what protocols are in place at the time. I wanted to address the gentleman addressing the 84th Street and a sidewalk. I share sentiments to that, not just from 84th Street, but from anybody that I think that doesn't live downtown. It is harder to access downtown. You have to cross major thoroughfares. Not all of them are village owned. In fact, two of the most major thoroughfares in the village are not village owned, in Loomis and 76th Street. But I think that public access to getting downtown is the most important thing for the village. It brings our community together, it makes us safer. We're all trying to get there. I live in the M section. It is hard for me I like to run. It is hard for me to run across Grange. The speed limit on Grange is 35, and I can tell you, I don't think there's a car on Grange that goes 35. So I sympathize with the sentiment of we need to make sure that our pedestrian crossings are safe. And I know that that's been a priority. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that if I were to run and if I were to elected, I would want to continue doing this. And that's all I have. So if you have anything that you want to talk to me about, or anybody in the audience, or anybody online, just reach out, and I will be more than willing to talk to you. So thank you.
Thank you very much for coming today. Anyone else, please step right on up. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, my name is Richard Sokol, 5348 Lilac Lane, the last 20 years. I want to talk, first of all, I had a pleasant surprise this morning. I had a very positive interaction with the health department in scheduling a vaccination. I didn't expect it to go that smoothly or that well, so kudos to the health department. I really appreciate the finding here. I want to talk a little bit about infrastructure. I use Grange Avenue quite a bit between Loomis and 51st Street. It is in very poor repair. I had an opportunity to contact the Public Works Department last week, and I was advised that there is no definitive plan to repair that section of Grange Avenue, and it depends upon financing and availability of funds, perhaps left over from 2020. I want to emphasize to you that I think that capital planning, an aggressive and comprehensive capital improvement program for the village is very, very important. I know that money is tight. I know there are a lot of ways that departments and citizens pull money to different projects, but I believe capital improvement program is very, very important and needs to be emphasized. I get the impression that the village's philosophy to repairing roads is to do it as inexpensively as possible. And I certainly understand and appreciate that, but sometimes I think that that's a little bit short-sighted. The example I have for you is when Eastway was reconstructed 2 years ago near the Eastway Circle Apartments. There's a bottleneck there created by parking on the street. It could have been, it should have been, in my view, resolved when the street was reconstructed, but it wasn't. And so the street's been resurfaced, and now we still have a bottleneck there caused by parking in a very narrow area that I think is a safety hazard. I'm also reminded constantly, driving through the village, of some of the drainage issues that exist. Many of the backyards, certainly in the L section where I live, backyards are designed to drain and surface to the street over the sidewalk. Now, over the years, the water damages the sidewalk. I am so distraught when I see dozens of my neighbors walking, their dogs walking in the wintertime and walking in the middle of the street because the sidewalk's in such poor shape and it's caused by the water. It's crossing it. So I want to encourage you to take a very, very comprehensive look at capital improvements, develop standards that are above doing it in just the cheapest way possible. And I know it's very difficult in these times to come up with funding, to be creative. And I hope that we can find a way this year to fix Grange Avenue between Loomis and 51st. I think it's way overdue, and then we can fix other streets in an appropriate manner.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your, go ahead, Joe.
Joe Russ, 1600 West Shadow Drive, New Berlin, representing 5597 Basket Street. Regarding some of the previous speakers, I too have an issue with not being able to take lawn debris to the dump here. Yes, I can haul it back to New Berlin. That's each time I haul it there, dump it, come back, that's an hour round trip, you don't make a whole lot of those on a Saturday. If you have a lot of brush, especially from an old willow like I have, or if I'm trying to get rid of buckthorn, which we'd all like to get rid of. I know 2 years ago, I did submit an idea of using a punch card. That was met with mixed results. But for non-resident property owners, give them access, handful of times a year if need be, if that's what it's gotta be. But, we do pay taxes here. I'm now a third generation property tax payer. I think we should be able to use it. We're paying for it, it's there. And, one of the other speakers said, if, dumped it in its gutter, you get a call from the police department. Well, if I decided to do a bonfire, I'd probably get a call from the fire department. We need a way of disposing of this stuff. For my willow, I usually collect stuff about 2 or 3 years and then start hauling it away. So it wouldn't be a every weekend thing for me, but others do need to use it. So, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Anyone else, coming up by Joe, another Joe?
Good evening, Joe Capito, 6550 Hill Ridge Drive, Board President of the Greenville School Board. I want to come out here tonight and make sure that I acknowledge publicly the Village Health Department and the Board of Health. I see Susan Bass there. As our Superintendent Kim Mizik reported out to the school board last night, the Board of Health and the Health Department has been instrumental in making sure that our teachers were vaccinated. They held a clinic on site for our teachers. I know they're holding clinics for the community residents, but I think as our families and community want to prioritize reopening schools and getting students back into schools, having the health department and having teachers vaccinated has been an integral part. So I want to make sure that the health department is acknowledged and recognized. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Mary Grogan, Sutton Lane. I'd actually like to put Sutton Lane on the road repair list. That seems to be accumulating tonight. But that's not why I came. I'm here tonight to thank Village President Birmingham and Trustee Chadwick for over 25 years of public service to the garden community of Greendale. That's 1996 to 2021. That's over 600 Tuesday nights. I bring with me a sincere and heartfelt message from the youngest of the 7 Grogan children, Megan, who is not able to be here tonight. And this is her message. Village President Birmingham and Trustee Chadwick, I have been watching you on public access for years, and you have done a very, very good job. Thank you. I also brought a gift from the Grogan family on Glen Haven, one for Jim and one for Sally. They are laminated, gigantic laminated maps of Greendale. And there's some Sharpies inside, and I have the Grogan family signed on, and I thought you might want to add a few other signatures along the way. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Mary, that's awesome.
Those weren't here last time. She brought us little mini pizzas.
That's why I talked before this time. I didn't want to go after.
Oh, that's neat. That's really nice.
All right, thank you. All right, enough of that. Anyone else willing to talk tonight? Wanting to meet? With that, we will move right along to standing committees. Finance Committee, Trustee Barber.
Thank you, President Birmingham. A couple of items for tonight from the Finance Committee. The first item is necessary action regarding approval of temporary Class B licenses, FC 2105. The Finance Committee recommends to the board to pass and okay the following license. Greendale Lions Club Foundation, 4th of July, Gazebo Park, 7/1/21 through 7/4/21. Greendale Lions Foundation, Village Days, Gazebo Park, 8/12/21 through 8/15/12, 8/15/21. and the Greendale Lions Club J&J Fest, Schoolway Loop and Hose Tower, 8/20/21, 8/21/21. All of these have been discussed prior, and so Finance Committee recommends that we continue to pass these. Could I have a second?
Second that motion.
Any discussion in regards to any of these events at all from any trustees? I see none. I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Olet.
Aye.
Trustee Sigarowski.
Abstain.
Trustee McFall.
Aye.
Trustee Sal.
Aye.
Trustee Chadwick.
Aye.
President Bermingham.
Aye.
Trustee Garvin.
Aye. Next item on the list is the necessary action regarding approval of quote to replace the hose tower roof, FC 2106. Get some background on that, but this is a budget item that we discussed in our October budgets. So Finance Committee is going to recommend to the board to approve the quote from Kashak Roofing in the amount of $24,285 for replacement of the hose tower roof. Can I get a second and then for a second? Okay. Discussion in regards to this roof being replaced. Trustee Sal, please.
Just confirming the budget amount was 25. It was more, it was 35.
Right, yeah, this is coming out of the
Under
budget.
budget by 11.
Other questions? Trustee Sirowski?
With being in the business, the price is a really good price, so we can just tell the board that.
Trustee Chadwick?
How much do we get, or how long is the guarantee on this?
Kashik is, they're giving us a 5-year warranty on the roof through them.
Because I appreciate that. I'm bringing it up only because in the past we did the library. We had issues and problems with the library and stuff like that. So that's why I appreciate things. So that's the reason I'm bringing it up. Thank you.
Trustee Sal?
Got that, what's the schedule? When will they start?
That's what I was gonna ask.
I think the DPW is.
Yes, Ken.
We haven't picked the start date yet because we were waiting for board approval. I did contact them and they said it would take about a week to finish the roof. So we're hoping that if it's passed tonight, that I can sign this and get them started on at least by the 29th and be done before Easter. They're looking for work right now, so I think could happen sooner than later.
I see that it's a complete tear off right down to the next.
Yes, that's the problem with the old roof when it was repaired. It was put over, the new roof was put over the old roof without removing anything. And it was done with, because it was a free job, it was done with leftover material, so
Nice.
there's 2 layers of roof to come off.
Will you be going there and checking on this? Make sure they're,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Other questions for Ken while he's up here? Okay, thank you, Ken. It's obviously needed, our hose tower is used quite often. And, you know, it's a historical building too, so this is a necessary repair. If there's no further questions from a trustee, I'd ask for a roll call on this, please.
Trustee Sigarowski.
Aye.
Trustee McFall.
Aye.
Trustee Sal.
Aye.
Trustee Chadwick.
Aye.
President Bermingham.
Aye.
Trustee Garvin.
Affirmative.
Trustee Olet.
Aye.
Next item, necessary action regarding the approval of a quote for the replacement of video surveillance cameras at the Village Hall, FC 2107. Finance Committee is going to recommend replacement of these. If it is a budgeted item that we discussed in October, to approve the quote from Newport Network Solutions in the amount of $11,250 for the replacement of Village Hall cameras. If you could give us some background, please.
Yeah, we also, like I said, included this in the budget, we included actually for 25,000, originally IT director thought you have to replace every camera. With the new technology, one camera can hit the 3 spots that, you know, we had 3 cameras before, so we actually are only going to spend $11,250. And we're gonna have full coverage now, we're adding also a camera in the boardroom, which we did not have, we just had the cameras for taping meetings, but they weren't on when we weren't in there, so, well, full coverage is open.
Trustees, questions for Sarah in regard to this? Trustee Chadwick at first.
Sarah, was there any, discussion ever about possibly putting on, camera, extending the camera to, the, Veterans Memorial and possibly into the children's garden when that goes in?
Not with this project,
Is this something that we can add on to? I mean, is this a system such that we can do?
yeah,
that
we
or
have,
not?
we have cameras from all our buildings.
We did talk about it when the memorial was built. If we had problems up there, we would try to put camera and see if we could somehow, run it through our network.
The only reason I ask is it a good idea to try to do preventive, or is it wait until there is a problem? And that's the thing I think, that,
Right now,
that's everybody has to decide.
Yeah, we were waiting if the board has the intention. of us-
There's an expensive piece of equipment that is going to be going over into, the area and stuff, and, I just wondered, okay, in the past, we didn't have to worry about it, so it wasn't working. It is now going to be working. So that's why I bring it up, and I think it's something that should be considered for future, okay? All right, and then if there is a children's garden that goes in, I do think that there should be something else to consider. Okay, thank you.
Trustee Chadwick, you're referring to next year's budget to be considered?
I would love to see that, okay? But I don't know, if we wanna wait until there's a problem, but sometimes I think it's good to try to be proactive and stuff. I don't know.
Okay. Other trustee questions? Trustee Sel.
I actually think that's that might be a decent idea to look at what it would cost for the Veterans Memorial, just because if that would be, there'd be graffiti or anything, or someone did something bad, I think that'd be a place we wanna make sure we could find out who did it. So then we have $10,000 or $11,000, just so it would be a couple, like $2,000, I don't know, I had no idea how much it cost. It would be a couple grand or something, maybe now would be the time while we have money.
Yeah, I just don't know what it would take to get a line from the internet connection that's there and get it to a position where it would be, we probably have to,
This isn't wireless, right?
or a cable through.
It's a cable.
We might be able to do it wirelessly too.
So it'd be wireless.
It would, I mean, if there's a majority that would like to see that.
Let's get a quote.
I mean, I think, given what this item is, you could add it or take a separate motion that you should look into it.
Majority want to have them take a look at that.
I would be for that, I think it would be great, yeah.
What you're talking about is approving what's here so we get started, and then wait till you come back with a quote on that.
No, I'd
Piggyback.
like to see you make a motion telling us, first approve this, then make a motion telling us to look into cameras for more.
Other questions for Sarah? When was your target date this time?
She said it could be within a couple weeks.
In a couple of weeks. What's the length of completion?
Yeah, so a couple weeks from start to finish.
I did have another question.
Oh,
Before the other idea, since we're under budget on these two items, I'm just wondering, accounting wise, if you would recommend it would be $10 to move this money over to our capital improvements and take 20 grand and then we use there to pay that loan down and leave it out. Or that be too.
Why don't you hold that thought for the next board meeting? Because we're gonna report, 2020 numbers. And there's some money left over.
I just didn't know if moving these funds to funds was something that we don't want to do.
You can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll wait on that. But it is something that has to be brought up, and it's a great suggestion. Mr. Sabrowski?
Couldn't we take that 20 grand and arrange that?
I was just gonna say that.
That's
what we
Ask
done
it
with 20
over.
grand.
That's one of the things that we want to talk about. We have some money that we have left over from 20, and there's some funds that are over budget, under budget, and they get some direction from the board. And the idea on the range, just with the theory, we've said it before, I don't think Mr. Sokol was here then, but the concept on green was we did that one patch and we were gonna see if we could do, how that held up and then see if we could do some more patches. We don't have the funds, we don't have the funds to reconstruct it.
But even that patch worked well, better than what's there now.
That seems like it
I
did.
mean, it isn't bad, I'm not about it, it's bad or.
Before I ask for a second, then, I made the motion to approve the Newport Network Solutions, but I also add a part into it that direct the staff for next meeting, hopefully, but, or after that, to look into the discussions of hooking up to the Veterans Memorial also. Okay. Second for both motions, yeah. Okay, last chance for discussion or ask questions. I see none, so I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee McFall.
Aye.
Trustee Stout.
Aye.
Trustee Chadwick.
Aye.
President Armstrong.
Aye.
Trustee Harden.
Aye.
Trustee Ola.
Aye.
Trustee Siebert.
That concludes President Birmingham, the Finance Committee for tonight.
Thank you very much, Trustee Barbier. All right, Planning Commission, anything tonight?
There was no meeting.
Very good. Library Board, Trustee Sachs.
We meet tomorrow.
Very good. Thank you. We look forward to the next meeting. Public Works Committee, Health Department.
Yep, we had a meeting today, went really good. And actually someone mentioned the COVID vaccines today. There was actually 150 roughly that were given today, so that's really awesome. Health Department's doing an amazing job, and we've heard that from quite a few people tonight. The village is somewhere around the 1,500 to 1,600 mark of vaccinations that they've given out, which is really great. Right now, we are at 5.1%, where we'd like to be is 5%, so we're at, as far as COVID. So that's really great that we're at 5.1. I think the cases for that actually went up. They're 19, right? Yeah, they're actually 19 since 3/4. So that's what we have for that. So yeah, we're going in a good direction with everything, and the health department's doing a great job. Any other questions for me regarding this part of it? Yes.
There's been an awful lot of talk, and I'd love to have a little bit more of an explanation about what the president's plans are. In other words, he says that all Americans will be available for a shot by May 1st.
Yep, that's what.
And he's hoping everybody's going to have a shot by the end of May. Okay, and then we hear Milwaukee County say, yeah, we're working on it, and they're hoping by July. So what is this? What is the timeline?
So Evers actually just put out a press release that it was May 1st, that their goal is to have open everybody. And
So
actually
you open
that
up
came
to
out
everybody.
today, right? So, yeah,
Everybody be open by the May 1st.
yeah.
But it does not mean that the vaccine will be ready, that we will have the vaccine.
That's the hope that they will. And actually, by March 22nd, they actually opened it up to even more people that have medical conditions, and there's actually a long list here.
I was just bring up a point that you heard today that the government has taken over a lot of the sites so that they can make that happen. Is that correct, Sue? The government has taken over several of the sites, the federal government?
There are some FEMA sites, so
Yes, FEMA
there's,
sites.
they're taking over the Wisconsin Center downtown so that Milwaukee Health Department can go into more mobile vaccinations and go to some of the zip codes where some of the highest risk people, where the most disease and deaths occur. But there's a huge increase in vaccinator programs. So there are a lot more pharmacies now getting vaccine healthcare systems as well as health departments. I would say health departments are getting less than the healthcare systems and the pharmacies. So, but we are seeing an increase. So that is good.
Thank you, Sue.
Sure.
So I'm sorry.
No, that's
Go
fine.
ahead.
That's it, that's everything.
Anything else? Any other questions for Jason? All right, with that, we'll move on. How about Auxiliary and Safety?
Meeting.
Very good. Park and Rec
No meeting.
and public celebration.
We did have a meeting. Just gonna report that Kristen, is preparing our maintenance right now, calendar of events. And, we decided and voted on that we're gonna do beverages again at the Green Market. And, Jackie and Rachel, they are very well planning our 4th of July parade and have a lot of units. They're doing a good job. And, we're gonna get like the fireworks thing, when does that come? Like, we haven't gotten that big for that yet, did we? That'll be coming. And then that there's gonna be a blood drive on March 17th, April 9th, and May 18th. Is it gonna be at the Post Tower? At the Post Tower. And then we're planning Pet Palooza, with a pet blessing, we have food trucks, a lot of fun activities coming, and that is May
Lots of dogs.
8th. We got lots of dogs, yeah, for Pet Palooza. And that was it.
Any questions for Justin?
When Jim's off the point of reading, was it Jim Birmingham's?
Good, Jim Birmingham. Yes, absolutely. Our dog lover. And then we'll also get a dog after.
My favorite, it's my favorite, right? Well, it's well done last year. A lot of people come.
We didn't do it last year.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I think.
You do last year? It seems like just a day ago.
Great job last
Just
year.
seems like a day
We're
ago.
gonna get you a dog for your
Like that, I like the job getting us. All right, with that, we'll move on to old business. I have no board and committee appointments and resignations tonight. Moving on to number 8, new business, DOT 2122. Discuss necessary action regarding the appraisal service agreement for 2021 through 2024 between the Village of Greendale and Tyler Technology. Manager Michael.
Thank you. In 2014, the village requested proposals from property assessment firms in an effort to find a new village assessor. After an extensive review process, the village selected Tyler Technologies to perform assessment services for 2014 through 16. Tyler Technologies provides assessment service to the village for 1/4 of the cost of the previous assessor. The village entered into a new 4-year contract with Tyler Technologies in 2017. Tyler Technologies has performed well over the past 7 years. Staff is recommending new assessment contract approved with Tyler Technologies for the years 2021 through 2024. The 4-year contract with Tyler Technologies includes revaluations in 2022 and 2024 to maintain assessments close to 100% and reduce fluctuations in assessed values. You'll recall the village board canceled the 2020 revaluation to save money during the 2020 budget process. Tyler Technologies cannot perform the revaluation in 2021 for staffing reasons. Since we have not done a revaluation since 2018, and I'll add the current housing market value increases in sales and in sale prices, it's likely to see significant fluctuations and some significant increases in 2022.
Wow, when did you find out that they weren't going to do it this year?
Months ago, I think I told you that.
I don't remember hearing that.
Also,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I live in my house, I'll bet my house will go up $100,000.
Yeah. Wow.
So we're recommending that you approve the new contract with Tyler Technologies for assessment service for year 2021 through 2024, subject to review and approval by the village attorney.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, something.
Yes,
I move to approve the agreement with Tyler Technologies for the years 2021 through 2024, subject to being reviewed for appraisal services as outlined by Manager Michaels here in this presentation.
Second motion.
Further discussion, yes, since you sound.
I'm just wondering, through the contract edit, doesn't pop out of me that we have flexibility to delay the assessment and avoid that charge in 2024 if we wanted to. I understand in 2022 we may definitely need to, but do we have the flexibility we had before where we were able to avoid that payment?
We don't in the contract, but, you know, they were very open working with us the last time. I can't imagine it being different.
I mean, it'd be nice to put it in there, but in case, you know, whoever the charge changes, then I just wouldn't work.
What do you want to have to get out of it?
We want to have the flexibility to not have them do the full assessment that costs.
It's on page 2. Bottom of page 2.
Goes from 61,700. I'm not saying we don't do it right now, obviously, I'm just saying, I like that we have the flexibility to avoid that when we need it elsewhere in the budget.
Kristen, the landlord, Kristen.
Also, that's a presidential year, so the election, that's a lot of work for the board. That's why I really know, that's a lot of work. 24, right, so if we're pushed it another year.
So maybe we should not approve this, the way it is.
That's what you want, and we can go back and negotiate more with them.
I think so, and that's what I would say.
I'm fine the way it is, but it's up to the board.
But just remember, when we skip, I mean, that's why we try to keep on the every other year, so they stay relatively, you know, increases don't jump like this.
Yeah. Trustee Sell, you're just saying, just in case something comes up, we may very well go ahead with that.
Yeah.
Correct, you just want a safety net in case.
Yeah, just something in here that says we have the ability, Greenville has the ability to, have it be an annual maintenance year instead of a reevaluation.
So why don't we just make a new, if the person made a motion, is applicable, make a new motion to include what he's saying, and in the agreement, change the agreement to include that, we'll go back to them. I don't think they're gonna be opposed to it, then you were done with it tonight, otherwise you can just direct us to go back and negotiate.
I'm fine with that, I mean, what, Trustee Sell? Okay with that? Yeah, I'll amend it, I don't know if that's good, yeah.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? I would agree.
I'm going to amend the motion that I spoke prior with to add in Trustee Sell has recommended, and Manager Michaels has notated that we'll just ask, go ahead with this contract and just have them put in a clause that just in case we have it out to 2024. Second.
Excellent.
And a pause.
Yes.
And a pause.
We have them.
Okay, I mean, if it's suggested to be changed or something like that, there's a cost adjustment.
Yeah. It's in 2 pieces, the regular reval is in one piece, and then in the contract, and the reval is in another place. So I put them together just to show you, not too more complicated.
Further discussion on this item? If there's none, we'll take a roll call for approval.
Trustee Snell.
Aye.
Trustee Chadwick.
Aye.
President Bermingham.
Aye.
Trustee Garvin.
Aye.
Trustee Olet.
Aye.
Trustee Zebra.
Aye.
Trustee McFall.
Aye.
Very good. Item number 9, you all received the officer reports and department reports today. Police, fire, all the departments. Any questions for any of the departments tonight? Yes, Chief, please.
I just quick wanted to say, you know, you've heard me talk about the Lucas device in the past. In the last Village magazine, there was an article about our first Lucas device in there. The other day, we had a gentleman knock on our door. There's $100 for your next Lucas device. We know you have 2 ambulances. About 2 hours later, I got a phone call. A family in Greendale said, how much was it? The next day, they came with a check, bought the entire thing.
Wow.
It's already been ordered and it was delivered. So now both of our paramedics are ready. This past weekend, it was used twice already and it was on young people.
See, adding that magazine pays off. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's really great news.
Excellent, excellent idea, excellent. Yeah, as well. Anybody else, with anything there? With that, we'll move on to the last citizen comments, the last chance you have to talk to us tonight, and, same thing, name and address for the record. Anybody, please? John, okay.
Joe Russ, 1600 West Shore Drive in Berlin, representing 5599 Basket Street. Upon hearing that you've got a slight surplus of $20,000, I thought I'd give you a little recap of something I discovered about the school board handling something. I've always applauded how you guys have done audits and P cards for your staff. That's been very reliable bookkeeping, checks and balances. As you know, in 2019, then Superintendent Dr. Kiltz had personal P card use, which came out to be $9,962.50. And at the time, the school board president told us that they didn't press charges so they could get the money back as quickly as possible. But upon further digging, I discovered that in order to get that $9,960 back, they spent $24,629 in taxpayer money to have two firms investigate that. So because you guys have been always on the forefront, you haven't had to worry about doing such an investigation. School board has since changed its policy, so that's now kind of doing what you do. But just to let you know that you guys have saved money by being proactive and checking that stuff. Unlike the school board. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Anyone else? Last chance. All right, if there's no one, yes. What?
Jason Srosky, 6030 Doyle. On behalf of myself and this board, I'd like to thank you, Sally and Jim, for your service. It's truly been an honor. Last 3 years for me and many more for other ones. I've learned a lot, and it's really a thankless job. I was talking to Ron about this today, and Mary Grogan mentions, 600 meetings I think you guys have been to. That's when you hear that number, I was like blown away. I was like, holy cow. And so thank you so much from all of us. We really appreciate everything that you guys have done. Thank you.
To be through this, and for those that didn't go here at the beginning of my first speech last time, the reason I'm up here is because one of the board members 24 years ago said to me, if you don't like what we're doing, run. So I appreciate all those people who have come forward this year to run. I don't say that you don't like what we're doing, but your only way to get yourself involved is to get up here or get on one of the committees and to move it along, because that's where we are. So, thank you. So with that, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
No.
We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
That will be a roll call for adjournment.
Trustee Chadwick?
Aye.
President Barbecue?
Aye.
Trustee Sparvian? Trustee Olet?
Aye.
Trustee Sikorowski? Trustee McFall?
Aye.
Trustee Scott?
Aye.
I would like to bring this back to future meeting for all the new board members and current members and the president sign this.